Okay guys, welcome back. So following on from yesterday's video on the Tour Edge Exotics E722 iron, their most game improvement iron in the lineup. Today we're going to look at the C722, smaller kind of sibling rivalry, the little brother. This I think is a little more in your wheelhouse. Yeah,
already like offset wise, a little thinner top line. It definitely looks like more of a club that looks a little bit more appealing to my eye.
For sure. I think this is something that more people will be a bit more familiar with. This is more of your P790 style of club. Even running through the specs there on the website, I think the lofts are almost identical to what like a P790. We always use that as a comparison because it is a bit of a legendary iron line now, the 790s. I think in terms of our game improvement line, we've sold more 790s than anything else over the past really 5 years since the original 2017 version came out. So yeah, I think this will be more to your liking. Definitely some differences in the design. The sort of spacing in the back is now being encased, so it is a closed cavity now, which again is very similar to the whole body designs that we are seeing. But a lot of the same sort of Vibrcor. We're seeing sort of more of this sort of, I don't want to call it a V in the back, but we have this kind of low center of gravity in the middle, coming into a lot of mass out in the toe section, even to the point where we've got that very familiar screw out in the toe. So moving a lot of weight to the toe side of the golf club really ups the MOI in the iron, gives it a lot more stability.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Let's just follow right into there. Yesterday's video, we talked a lot about the sole design, the sole thickness, the top line, the offset, all those things. So I think this will be very interesting to compare two irons that are kind of designed side by side effectively, and kind of what that offers someone in terms of a delivery type that's a bit more on the shallow side like you are.
Yeah, for sure. We'll start with the pitching wedge here.
Almost identical to the very first one you hit with the E722, the angle of descent and the peak height. I'm sure that actually was probably the identical two numbers. Obviously a little less left. That one actually was a bit more of a pull rather than a shot that kind of was kind of hooking over to the left. So it'd be interesting to see if you do hit this one with some straighter lines.
Okay.
This noise is totally different from the E.
I'm finding it a little bit more clicky for sure.
Way more clicky.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something to do with the fact that it isn't encased, so the kind of sound is bouncing off the walls a little bit more rather than escaping out of the back of the golf club. But it's, yeah, I don't know if I know I'm not in favour of it. I think if I had that sound coming from the more game improvement one, I'd be okay. And if I had the duller, more muted sound coming from the competitive ones, I think that'd be better.
I do find already, like, just with that little less offset, it's not going as left as, again, we know my miss is left with them, but at least these are hanging on to just left of the green instead of left woods.
Awesome.
It's about as good as I can hit it, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that was a flusher.
Yeah, I hit that one really well.
So we're seeing that peak height regulate around 105, 106, angle of descent 52. Again, we're not talking about backspin. We're not really concerned. It's fine. The backspin is a number relative to the launch and spin. It's not an issue at all. So it's contributing exactly how we thought it would. 44 degrees aloft on the standard pitch and wedge in this, which, in all honesty, isn't even that strong nowadays. We're seeing irons like T100S. It's basically about the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much on par, right?
It's not a high, a low lofted wedge at all. That actually sounded a little bit better there on that one as well.
Yeah, I think that's about as good as I can hit that one.
Yeah,
pretty much right in the middle, I think.
Let's move on to the 7, 170 yards. We did see with the previous version, it was 7 and 4 that would give you the biggest problem. The pitch and wedge was fine because you were steep enough into that one. The club is short enough that the angle of the shaft is vertical enough that it's going to make your angle of attack steep. Once we got to the 7, that's where we started to see things become a little bit iffy with the strike.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how this one is.
Yeah, visually already, this looks a little bit more appealing to my eye, and I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for me to put a good swing on it.
That was really good.
Yeah, hit that really
was.
good. Just obviously shot it a little bit, but...
That's what it sounded like. The 7-iron, which is very unusual, the 7-iron sounded less clicky than the wedge. Normally, when you decrease the loft, it exposes more of the sound of the golf club because it's a more square blow, and that sounded way softer.
Yeah, it felt actually completely different.
Totally. Not bad.
Close, a little close to the heel, but...
Yeah, and I've moved that green back a little bit, so that miss looks worse than it. If we had left the green at 170, it would have been fine, but not too bad.
Good for a heel strike.
I was going to say, pretty good for in the neck. Does that sound again? That really flushed, soft sound.
Yeah, that felt really good, and I think the peak height on that was pretty...
Yeah, I noticed even in the first one that turned over a little bit, the peak height was impressive. I mean, 126 feet, 50 degrees angled descent. Again, you're going to stop. That ball could be spinning at 7,000, and it wouldn't have stopped any quicker than that one based on the land angle. You can hear as well, the shallow angle attack is working so much better with the thinner sole.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like I can get through the turf a lot better. It's not just digging in, shutting my face down.
So good.
Definitely like the feel of that.
I just wonder I'm kind of a bit confused as to what's happened with the wedge, why it sounds that way.
It's interesting, because I even yesterday noticed that the E is, they're both closed off in the pitching wedge, but the pitching wedge and the E didn't sound like that. It was just the C that sounded like that.
So strange.
It's a bit interesting.
Okay, 4-iron, 21 degrees of loss, so again, 2 more than what we saw in the E722. This one actually does offer a 3-iron as well. So if you do like the stronger iron, and it's 19 degrees, so it's got an iron that matches the E722 4-iron, but with a thinner sole, if that's what you fancy.
Yeah, and visually, again, with this, to me, looks like for the guy who's looking for a little thinner top line, it's definitely looks a little bit better at address.
Amazing.
That felt really good.
Get the man a set. 17 degrees of launch. It's kind of what you want to see. It's got that kind of nice high flight. I mean, it's shallow, so it's a little up on the angle attack, which is why the spin was down, but the high ball speed and the high launch was awesome. So good.
It's pretty good height on those.
It's fantastic. You'd be over the moon with that.
Yeah, I would happily take.
It really is
that's
good.
That's getting up there with my lefty 4-iron carry number.
I mean, what did we say earlier? 220?
Yeah,
225 a push?
Yeah.
It's a lot of ball speed. It really is. I was getting a whip that one.
To be honest, I actually put a good swing on that. I just shanked it. It was like, all right, at least we were like flush one. All right.
These are significantly overperforming.
Yeah, I actually really like the feel of them. Like, I think as guys who like driving, like in longer irons, or guys who like the 3 and 4 iron, like that.
Or gals. We're not singling out the gals.
That's very true. That's very true.
We're unbiased on here. There's a little rogue pitching wedge snuck in there. We can't figure quite out what's going on.
It's probably user.
Yeah, I mean, we will definitely be taking the blame, but something's not quite jiving there. We loved the 7. Couldn't believe how much we loved the 4. That was...
Yeah, the 4 was a nice treat.
Ridiculous.
That was really good.
Ridiculous. But, I mean, it could be something as simple as, obviously, the 105-gram shaft in there, maybe something a little bit on the heavier side that allows you to kind of have some different feels with it. Maybe maybe let's kind of throw something like that out there that it could be. But I think 5 out of the 6 irons we tested yesterday and today, we really were impressed with.
Yeah, they felt really, really good. Outlier, obviously, the pitching wedge being a little bit clicky, but that 7-iron, 4-iron performed really well and felt really good as well.
Yeah, and I think, guys, we're talking about the lofts, and they're right on par with what everyone else is doing loft-wise, like we said. So you do have that notch in the heel. You can bend them a little bit, you can weaken them a little bit, and you can get them right where you need to get them. But $145 a club. I think most people would order these 5 approach wedge, so $1,000, right? So $999.99.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Be in the lower end in this category for sure. So
it would, yeah. Most custom sets that we would see leaving our store, $2,000 to $2,500 is kind of the going rate price. They're going up, but I think as a value package from a company that are well known, reputable, have some of the best players on the Champions Tour playing their stuff every single week. It's a really nice little niche they've created for themselves in there.
Yeah, I agree. And I would definitely play this iron if I was kind of in that category for sure.
Very easy to recommend someone to lean towards.
Yeah, definitely.
Something like that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Okay, guys, 2 options in the game improvement, and probably super game improvement. We're saying yes to these kind of E722 iron is probably more in the super game improvement. Really strong loft, really low CG, thick top line, thick sole. All the forgiveness really that's been offered by anyone out there. So, but 2 good options. So I think either one, definitely worth a try. The difference maybe between these and some of the other irons at this price point, you can find an iron like that at a TXG, at a club champion. I know both of our stores carry them. That's, Canada and US, you kind of have great options of trying both. But definitely worth looking at if you're looking at game improvement or super game improvement. We have lots more irons to test. Actually, some new Cobra irons that have just come in the door as well. So I think that's similar, comparable, the Force Tech and the X. So it's something that we can compare nicely to these.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Sounds good. Okay, guys, stay tuned for that. We'll see you again soon.